Hey guys, welcome back for another bench update. Really knocking out videos right now. Obviously, plenty of spare time being at home. So, it's been about 3 days, maybe 4 days since my last update. I just keep a blog. I feel rather than doing a build video or whatever, I'll just keep updates on where I am with the tornado and kind of talk a little bit more detail about what I'm doing to kind of keep you updated. So, where I'm at is since last video, I've painted, decaled, washed, weathered the main fuselage section, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Also, I've got a couple of packages arriving too. One from Hannants in the UK. I live in the US. British, but I live in the US. I noticed a time a couple of weeks back where a lot of companies in the UK were kind of cutting down on ship closing or weren't shipping properly. But Hannants. So Hannants, I placed the order, and it took them about 6 days to ship it out. It's understandable. They had a huge amount of orders and stuff, and the order I placed with them was a lot of aftermarket stuff. It wasn't just like a one box of kit. So it took 6 days to pack it, and it took 9 days to arrive. So about 2 weeks, well, I think it's 15 days from the day I ordered, which I think is pretty good, and that's normally on par. I selected the cheapest shipping method, and as I always do, and that's what it took. So I didn't think that's a problem at all. When I order from Model Hobbies, it usually takes about 3 weeks. So in fact, I got that in 15 days from Hannants. That's pretty cool. So just let you know, if you are ordering overseas from Europe to US, like I say, I'm not personally, those right now, I'm not having any problems with packages. I know Asia do have some issues if you're ordering from Japan or China. Japan in particular, I think they pretty much cut down all international shipments by air. I think most of them are going by ocean now. So just be careful and check the policies and check where you're ordering from if you are buying internationally. So that's kind of just quick update. So let me switch the camera down and let's talk about where I'm at with the Tornado F3, the Eduard box and the Revell kit. Okay, so here she is. So I've switched to putting a glove on. When I get to this stage in the build, I kind of put a glove on just purely because I just last night put neat oils on. So neat oils can take up to a week or maybe longer to really kind of dry and go off properly. So I don't want to kind of touch and get fingerprints on there or get my dirty hands on there and stuff. So at this point, I touch it with a glove. So how do I get to this point? So this is my last video. So basically, it's painted using this set, the beautiful Hitaka orange lacquer paints, and per the instructions, the upper side is the camouflage barley gray, the lower side is a light aircraft gray. All the pylons and drop tank and stuff are light barley gray too. Painted the tail in Tamiya XF85, I think it is, rubber black, whatever rubber black number is. So painted it, sealed it all in, as I always do, with this beautiful LP9. I've tried almost every single clear coat, and this just works brilliantly. I love it. Aquagloss, I went for a period, but that's water-based and get some issues. I've had 0 issues and used it for like 6 months. I have quite a few tins spare too. I mean, working through these guys. So LP9, love this. So painted it, LP9, then I put on a Flory wash. Let me show you real quick. Hang on. Here we go. Flory Models Dark Dirt Wash, which I absolutely love. Been using this for years. I have a couple of bottles, which are about 10 years old, and they still work okay. Yeah, so basically, it's a clay wash. All you do is I just put it into one of these little kind of plastic dishes I get off Amazon. I think they're for like dips and salsa and stuff, and just pour it all in, and literally just brush it all over. So brush it all over, let it dry for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then with a paper towel, just wipe it off. And it will leave, because you use a gloss coat, it's going to leave all the panel lines filled in, but the rest of it's going to be removed. So I do that once. Actually, I forgot a step, so check that. So I put the LP9 on, and then I put the decals on, which I forgot. Then another LP9 over top of the decals to seal them in. Then I do dark dirt wash. My bad, I'm sorry. I forgot about decals. Then once the dark dirt wash is done and off, I then put XF86, the flat matte coat on. I didn't do any matte coat on the tail because in the reference pics it's more shiny, semi-gloss. So I left it. So I just matte glossed the actual aircraft itself, and and then I applied oils. So this is how I apply oils. I'm not sure exactly the right way or not, but I use on this one basically these three colors: sepia, smoke, and dark faded yellow. Come in these kind of tubes. And these last forever. I've had these. You only use you see a tiny little bit, so I mean, you better use any. And these stay wet for quite a while. Put them on a piece of cardboard so it kind of leaches all the stuff off, all the oil off, and so it dries a little quicker. So what I basically do is I take my colors, the dark colors for panel lines, and I've set a few brushes. So really, with this smaller brush, I basically just dip it in a tiny bit, wipe off all the excess, make sure a paper towel, really kind of make it clean, and then lightly, literally draw on the panel lines on the aircraft itself. So where I want to kind of be, so crossways and down, wherever I need them to be. Once I've done that, I come in with like a smaller kind of stippling brush. This is just from a hobby store, real cheap, like a $2 brush or something. And then I just go, like makeup, just go over the lines and fade it all in. I also have a bigger, this brush works great too, which is the AK 579. See that one? Like a soft. And then again, you just really blend it like makeup. Just go down the lines. What I found was something that was a little too heavy, so I just took this guy, which is the odorless thinners. I just dipped a cotton bud or a Q-tip, wherever you are in the world. Dip one lightly. Again, wiped off all the excess. If you put too much on, just wipe it right off. So if you make a mistake, you wipe it right off. Real kind of like took a lot of it off. And then where I kind of got too heavy, I just kind of went over the side of those lines with the Q-tip a little bit. And the other side just wiped it clean, so I kind of removed some. So that's what I did. The nose had a little boo-boo. I somehow kind of was rubbing, like I somehow kind of side of the brush kind of took a gouge out the top with paint, so I had to repaint it, so it needs a little bit of weathering still on top, just where I painted it last night. Again, this canopy isn't the real canopy. I have two canopies, so the one I'm actually using is, I'm not sure where it is right now. There it is. This guy, which I masked up, has all the photo etch and internal stuff. It's going to be open. Oh, that way around. This one's closed. I just masked the whole canopy up, and it's going. This is just so it doesn't get paint inside the cockpit tub. Well, these all traditionally get dirty down the back end. They're first reverse, the buckets come up, and then it blows back all the crap. Basically, what I did was with my cheap Chinese airbrush, not a nice airbrush. This is one I got eBay for like $8, like $10, like a cheap Chinese thing. I put in the wash. I started with grime, and it was too light, so then I tried the dark dirt. So I'm not sure. It works okay. It probably needs to be more of an oily color, to be honest with you. But what I basically did is add a little bit to here, to the color cup, my cheap airbrush, and just lightly just blew on, sprayed it. That's my technique I use for rally cars to get like a light dusting. So you can airbrush this stuff pretty well too. So I just, the buckets come back this way, so I just airbrushed up both sides. But it's a little too much, so I wiped some off. This is just wiped off with water, so if you go crazy, you can make it, don't like it, you can always remove it. Quite like the effect. It looks pretty good the way it is. This is pretty heavily weathered. These aircraft do get weathered pretty much heavily like this, but maybe I went a little bit over top. Just the way I like it, I guess. I like kind of like pump the details out and look at like weathered looks. I think this is okay. Well, I was a little worried last night. It looked the oils looked way too much. And I'm going to show you in a minute around the aircraft. So the oils look way too much. So before I went to bed, I just did this, like I mentioned earlier, just took some thinners and a Q-tip and just did wipe some away a little bit. Also overnight, while it's kind of dried, it has kind of blended in and looked nicer too. So I think I'm quite happy how it's turned out. So pretty good. Even done the tailplanes and stuff. You can see on here, like, add some weathering. Again, same principles. Just add dots with a brush and just roll it back in the direction of airflow. A few like kind of patches like hydraulic stains, which I used the dark faded yellow color. Really good for hydraulic stains. And there's a couple bits around the aircraft too. Just kind of mess it up a little bit, so it's going to go back on like this. I did all the other little bits of flaps. That's the other side that's going to go on like both sides. Again, there's a few like hydraulic stains and some dirt. Flap's gonna go on, and the guy goes on like this. You can't see because my hand's in the way. Let me see that. So all this stuff will get added later. It's just gonna snap off. One top tip too is if you're building one of these Rebel tornadoes, back here, all these kind of tiny little things for the flaps. I broke a few off, just weathering it. So I'd highly recommend, well, my plan would be if I build this again, all this little, those little things attached for the flaps and stuff, I'll probably add them now after I weathered it. They're just too fragile and they keep breaking off and stuff. I've lost a couple to Carpet Monster. I might, you're not gonna, well, the ones underneath you're not really going to see, so I don't really care too much about it. The main one up here I've pinged off. I might just use some plastic card and just kind of make one and stick it on at the end. But that's really it. I got the back end to do. Painted it. Painted the nozzles. But yeah, still needs some painting done and buckets and stuff doing. So a lot of little stuff to do now. Painted the landing gear stuff. Painted the fuel tanks. Again, heavily weathered, as these guys are always weathered. Not quite finished. I've just painted it. I've still got to like add some washes and stuff. Same tip as always used with these. The black Mr. Hobby. This the Surfacer 1500 black is my priming coat, and then I just add white random, as you've seen in my previous videos. And then when I spray a light coat of the gray on top, you can still see the kind of shady underneath it, so it looks weathered. See that? Yeah, so that's a light aircraft gray color, which goes under here. So it's coming along nicely. And really, spent a little ton of time on this this week. Really enjoyed it, and it's coming. Like I say, I'm really happy. So just kind of give you hold it close to the camera. Switch my, so you can kind of see it. Side, top. See the other side. Again, just light dusting. So I'll do it again. I'll probably do a more black or oily kind of color. And then the underneath. So I'll hold back here. See the different color underneath. Again, really kind of happy how this guy's turning out. I've still got the seats to do. Not quite sure yet if I'm going to use the resin seats that come in the kit, or go with the kit seats and put some pilots in there with a canopy up. I'm kind of tempted to maybe got a couple of pilots sat in there, so I might just save those resin seats for a different build. So again, it's this kit right here, which is a Rebel kit. I've not used the decals from this kit. I've used decals from the regular boxing. Obviously the Uniform Victor markings. I just like that one best, so I went with those markings. Yeah, great kit. Now, one thing I have noticed too is, and people mentioned recently with Desert Babe release, they're using the same molds, Rebel, and it seems like every 6 months or a year they bring a new one out. The detail and the fit's getting a little bit worse and worse. So I think the earlier ones might be better to go for. I did have 2 Desert Babe kits, luckily, in my stash. I've decided what I'm going to do is I actually throw one on eBay. I'm just going to keep 1 kit. I don't need 2. I love the kit and love the aircraft, but it's just real hard to get together without those seam lines and stuff. It's not a great fitting kit. So I sold it everywhere, so I threw it on eBay and maybe make a few bucks or something, but I'm not going crazy, so I'm just going to keep 1. I have 1 more of these kits. I have 1 Desert Babe, and I have a few of the regular boxings. I got the Farewell scheme coming out in August too, so there's quite a few of these. But yeah, again, really happy how it turned out. The weathering, it really makes it, once you paint it, it looks okay, but once you have those decals and really get the wash on and stuff, it really makes it pop. Again, I can not highly recommend much enough this wash, whether you use Flory Models or ISM, or if you use to make your own oil wash up, you can eat the oils I mentioned. You can just literally add a little bit and mix it with this and make your own oils up. But just adding a panel line wash just makes all the difference. There's so many great builds out there I see where people have painted it immaculately and built superbly, but not any kind of panel wash. You don't see any kind of detail. So you do any kind of color you want and stuff. But again, you just see on the wings there the amount of detail it kind of picks up on the fuselage and stuff, and on the back, it just makes a huge difference. So that's where I'm at. So that's Tornado. Hope you guys like that. Again, I kind of really quickly explained how I did my process. Not really a tutorial, just kind of how I do it.
if you guys want me to kind of explain anything more or talk about any of my products, just put me a comment below, and I'm happy to kind of go into a little bit more detail. I just noticed too, some bunch of oil just came off my hand or finger on that, so that needs to be wiped off. So, so it just comes right, there you go. See, it just, even just a Q-tip like this, it rubs right off. I'll touch it with my hands. I shouldn't be touching with my gloves. Anyway, all right, so that's it. Let me switch the camera back, and we'll talk about a little bit about some of the purchases I've recently received and got in the mail. So 2 minutes, and I'll flip the camera back.
So really happy how that's turning out. It's a pig of a kit, but it's going together pretty well. So you see the main bulk of it's done. Just a few little odds and ends to add to it, really. It's one of those parts of modeling where you kind of really got to decide weathering. Is it when you go kind of get to that line, if you cross it, go too far and make it too over weathered. I think having known these aircraft, they do weather pretty much, pretty heavily. And like I mentioned earlier, the oils are dying down too as it dries. So I think I'm okay. If not, I'll if I think it's still too much, I can always just take a Q-tip with a little bit of enamel thinners and just wipe off and kind of blend it in a little bit more. But yeah, so that's where I'm at pretty much the past week, just been working at one kit. So let's talk about what I received. So I've received since the last video 3 packages. So first one's a pretty straightforward one, and that is just a couple more of my primer of choice, which is the Mr. Servicer 1500 Black. Now I just heard they do a white. My usual stockists don't sell white. I can only seem to get it on eBay from Japan or certain places for about $10 a bottle. So I'll keep my eye on that. But the black, I really like this. As I mentioned, you see my other videos, I always prime everything now in this. I thin it about 50-50 with self-leveling thinner or any kind of lacquer thinner. So I managed to pick up 2 on eBay. My usual stockists are out, as most people, I guess like myself, were kind of hoarding and getting supplies in. So a lot of stuff is kind of out of stock right now. But I found a guy on eBay selling, had 3 left, so I picked up a couple. This should last me pretty much 6 months or maybe a year once these are thinned down. So I really love these guys. So that was my first package. Nothing too exciting. Next, got a package from, as mentioned earlier, package from Hanance. Only took 15 days from ordering in the UK to receiving here in the US. So I'm pretty happy. That's cheapest shipping method. So I'm pretty happy how quickly that arrives. So just basically a few aftermarket bits. So another 2 more of these guys. So as you see in my previous videos, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4. This makes 6. So I have pretty much every single set now they've brought out last couple of months for Tornado. So I've got the tie-out pod and the FEMAT or FIMAT, not sure how to pronounce it, shaft dispenser. So again, I've got every one. So the only one left is the JP, I keep forgetting the number, I think it's 233, the ordnance dropping thingy-me-jig. That's coming out in a couple of weeks, so I'll buy that and I have the whole set. Now, interesting about this one, kind of go off topic a little bit, but with these guys, they're so nice, these weapons. For sure, they're nice to put on the aircraft and stuff, but I'm now thinking about, I've got a thing right now collecting these guys. I really like these browsing weapons and weapon sets, and I'm wondering maybe if there's some kind of way to display this not on the aircraft, or maybe some kind of standalone thing. Now, what I'm thinking is, when I've been to museums such as like the Cosford Air Museum or the pretty much any air museum, the Cosford comes to mind because they have that hangar with like the missiles and stuff. Like, I wonder if there's some way, I need to think about it, like noodle on it, but some way you kind of display, almost like a museum setting of like some kind of display stand with the different weapons, and maybe it's just like a little bit like what they are or what they do. I think that might be cool. I've never seen that before, so I thought, thinking outside the box, maybe instead of throwing all these guys on aircraft, which I'll probably put a few on, but maybe some of these pods or these ordnance, maybe it might be cool to do some kind of like display. I'm not sure how it's set up, but some kind of display or some kind of racking with all the different weapons, maybe some American, some British, some Russian, and different ordnance, and maybe over the years even, maybe start with World War II, like the 1,000-pound bombs, and work your way up to like the laser-guided missiles. I just thought, I've never seen that before, and I thought maybe that'd be a cool thing. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. So like I say, I'm really loving collecting these browsing things. They're not cheap, but I guess they're not overly expensive, about $10 or maybe £8 each if you buy it from the right place. So what, 4 or 5 of these make up like a kit, pretty much like an aircraft kit. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about those. Also the same order, I got a little bit aftermarket too for the Super. So if you remember, I did a review video, and a couple of weeks ago I received that on Deal of the Day from Sprue Brothers. I picked up cheap the Hasegawa F16i Super. So the only issues I've kind of found with it was really the nozzle was really kind of plain, and the it needed some better seats. So I corrected that pretty cheaply with Aries nozzle set for that kit, which definitely looks like a big improvement. Oh, going the wrong way. You can see that. And I bought the resin cockpit set. Now the reason I went, keep going the wrong way. To be honest, it looks a little bit softly molded. There's not a ton of detail in the cockpit, and 72nd scale isn't really kind of, especially like a small aircraft like this. Maybe it's like a Prowler or something we have a big, you can see in, or like a big glass cockpit, but these you're not really going to see much in the cockpit, especially at 72nd scale. But the reason I got this set was I wanted resin seats. Now, the Aries resin seats were about something like $8. The whole cockpit set, which includes the 2 seats, was like $10. So for $2 more, basically, I wanted seats anyway. I got the cockpit, so I just went that way. I thought for bang for buck, that seemed like a good deal. So I went and got the cockpit, say for a couple of dollars more, rather than just getting seats. I went for the whole thing. So I think that really kind of take it up to where it needs to be. It's a pretty basic kit. It does have weapons in it, which is unusual for Hasegawa, but I think just adding the nozzle and the cockpit will really kind of take up to another level. So see that one, and then just a couple other little things. My F15i, keeping on the Israeli theme, the Great Wall Hobbies F15i. Edouard just released the mask set for that literally like a week or two ago. So as soon as it got released, I had it with this order. I picked up the mask set. These orders are pretty much a given for me in the aircraft, especially in 72nd scale, because I'm not much good at masking. Not very good at masking, and especially in these smaller scales, like the front window where it's small and stuff. I've tried the trick of putting the mask tape over and cutting around it, but I found I've actually scratched the glass or not going too well. So for a few bucks, I play it safe and always get, when I can, get the mask set. So that's for the F15i. And the last thing of this order was just a couple of things. You see my Viggen, and you know I have a few Viggens in my stash, so I just replenished it. So I got another, well, I could have got another resin seat. These are in like $2 or $3. Now we see it. And for the two, as you know, I got the dual pack, so I've built the AJ37, but the SK37, which is a 2-seat variant. I don't have a mask set, and as I just mentioned, I like the mask set, so I bought that guy too. So I got the mask set. So again, just a couple of bucks. So a few little aftermarket bits. Now today I just arrived 2 kits. So the first one is this guy. It's not only been out a couple of years. I think maybe 2017. It's the Flying Fortress, the B-15 Mark III. I thought it was a G, but Mark III. So what I did, I ordered this, and then I've also ordered, which was pretty cheap, I ordered the Big Sin resin pack for this to kind of really kind of super build it. That includes engines, wheels, superchargers, maybe a couple of bits. I got the mask set too. So I ordered it, and then I ordered it for the G. Mistake, I don't know, I ordered it for G, and then I got, because FX do a G version of this in natural metal finish, and they do the Mark III. And I realized my kit I ordered was a Mark III, and I've ordered that aftermarket, and I thought, ah! So I went to some Wikipedia and checking online. I think pretty much, don't know these aircraft at all, so if you know, please chime in, but I'm pretty sure that the G, especially the FX kit, is exactly the same, just the RAF called it the Mark III. So it's a G, just RAF called it Mark III. So from what I've seen, all the aftermarket stuff I bought will fit perfectly on this. It's the same aircraft as the upper FX boxing with the natural metal finished aircraft. I'm a bit of a chicken. I've never done a natural metal finished aircraft before. I will at some point, but so I went play it safe, went with the RAF, kind of cool RAF scheme. Yeah, so I never built a bomber before. That's something definitely want to try. Building all these jets recently, it's, I'm getting kind of in the mode and doing the same thing over and over, so it's always nice to change things up. So yeah, it's a great looking aircraft. It's not too big in 72nd scale. It's it's a decent size, but no bigger than probably the Tornado right there I just built in 48 scale, or building in 48 scale. So with all the extra detail, it's really going to bring it up. All the resin engines and stuff, it's going to look awesome. So I bought this one, and I did notice too is I just got the Edouard update for June, what's coming out in June, their new releases, and they're bringing out the Hasegawa B26 Marauder in the limited edition set. So you know Eduard always do the little spin on things, so it's going to have the kit, it's going to have resin wheels, it's going to have a beautiful markings, it's a really nice natural metal finish, it's hard to say, with olive drab mix, one of the schemes, which I really kind of want to do. So I'm going to definitely order that in June when it comes, or end of May when it's released, and start building some of these bombers. I think World War II bombers. Just never done it before, so I kind of fancy something a little bit different and change. Also going, my mind's going all over the place. Going back to the Marauder 2, they also bring Eduard also bring out Browsing engine set 2, resin engines for that. It's 72nd scale Marauder, but they're going to bring out, along with the kit, you can buy separately the resin engines too, which look really nice, like wiring and stuff. I guess hopefully next couple of weeks I'll get the big Sin set for this one, and I'll see exactly how the engines look on this guy, and see how how fiddly it is and stuff. In 72nd scale, I'm not sure how complex it is with the wiring and stuff, but so I'll take a look, and then that might be something I'll be interested in too on the new B26 which is coming out. So there's that kit, and then one other kit I received. Something completely different, and this kit is just got released about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. And this is a new Trumpeter release. Let me see what it's actually called. M4 Command and Control Vehicle C2V. Let me see that. Now this guy looked really cool. This is yeah, I'm not sure how to explain or what it exactly is. It's some kind of command control vehicle from the desert. I've not opened the box or done any kind of research on it, so I'm assuming it's probably from either the first or second Gulf War. But it looked really cool, something different. So yeah, I really kind of like the desert and kind of the modern armor. So probably another one for the stash, which I'll probably never ever build. But I really kind of like it's a great price, and I really like the look of this this guy. So yeah, this is the it's just released by Trumpeter. So just came a couple of weeks ago. So what I'll probably do is I've not looked inside the box yet, so I might do a quick review after I've done this video. I'll do a review and post it in a couple more days, and so we can see exactly what's inside the box, exactly, so I can tell exactly what it is too. Because like I say, I just saw it going by the box art. It looked really cool, and something a little bit different too. So that's it. So another update. I try to keep these short, but I'm kind of waffling a little bit. So I'll come back, do a review of this guy. And hopefully next time we do a bench update, that Tornado will be finished. So we'll do that, and then we'll move on to the next kit, which most probably, if I get my big Sin stuff, is probably I'll start the if I get my stuff, I might make a start on this guy, something a little bit different. So that's it. So again, thanks for watching. Hope everybody's doing okay, and I'll see you next time. So see you later. Bye bye.